He taught millions how to stay strong when life falls apart. But in 2025, Jordan Peterson couldn't even speak to his own family. No lectures, no interviews, just silence. The man whose voice reached hundreds of millions suddenly had none. And what happened behind the scenes, from addiction to a coma in Russia to a near-death collapse in his own home, reveals something much darker than anyone expected. Because this isn't just a story about illness. This is what happens when the man who teaches strength reaches his limit. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll see his life very differently. Long before the fame, before the controversy, Jordan Peterson was just a quiet kid growing up in a frozen town in Canada. But while everyone else was living normal lives, he was reading about something most people avoid entirely: suffering, evil, and why humans create chaos, even when they think they're doing good. Books from authors like Orwell and Solzhenitsyn didn't inspire him, they disturbed him. Because they revealed something uncomfortable: that the real danger in the world isn't just systems or governments, it's people. And that idea stayed with him. It pushed him away from politics and straight into psychology. He didn't just want to understand the world. He wanted to understand what breaks people from the inside. But that curiosity would eventually pull him into something much bigger. For years, nothing about Jordan Peterson was viral. He was just a professor, teaching, writing, working quietly until 2016. He uploaded a simple video. No production, no team, just him, speaking directly to a camera. And within weeks, everything exploded. Millions of views, global attention, and a level of backlash that most people would never recover from. He spoke about something most people were afraid to touch. And suddenly, the entire internet was watching him. Some people saw him as a hero. Others called him dangerous. But what almost no one noticed was what this attention was doing to him behind the scenes. Because while the world was getting louder, his body was starting to break. Fame didn't slow him down. It multiplied everything. World tours, endless interviews, millions of people depending on his words. At the same time, his wife was fighting a life-threatening illness, and his own health was becoming unstable. He changed his diet drastically, cut out almost everything. Then came the medication. At first, it helped. It made things manageable. But slowly, something shifted. Something subtle, but dangerous. And when it finally showed itself, it hit harder than anyone expected. What started as a small medical decision turned into something far worse. The medication he was taking began to take control, not instantly, but gradually, until stopping it became almost impossible. His system began to react in ways no one predicted: severe anxiety, physical breakdown, total instability. He tried to stop, but what followed was something few people understand. A level of withdrawal so intense, it pushed him to the edge. And then he disappeared. No updates, no appearances, just silence, until the truth came out. He had been flown to Russia for an experimental treatment, a medically induced coma. But even that didn't go as planned. While unconscious, his body started failing in other ways: infections, complications, loss of motor control. When he finally woke up, he couldn't function normally. Walking became difficult. Speaking became slower. The man who once debated on global stages was now struggling with basic movement. For months, no one really knew what was happening. Rumors spread, but the reality was far worse than speculation. And even after surviving that, the hardest part wasn't over. By 2020, he returned, careful, controlled, different. He started speaking again, writing again, building new projects. To the outside world, it looked like a comeback, but behind the scenes, his body was still fragile, still recovering. still carrying damage most people couldn't see. And then, in 2025, something completely unexpected happened. Something so ordinary, it makes what followed even more terrifying. It didn't happen on stage. It didn't happen during a debate. It happened in a house. A normal day, helping clean after a loss in the family. But that house had something invisible. Mold. Not the kind you see. The kind that spreads through the air, silently, and once it entered his system, everything changed. His immune system didn't just react. It turned against him. Rapid inflammation, organ stress, and then infection. He was rushed to intensive care, and this time, it was close. Very close. Because for weeks, he couldn't even speak to his own family. As of now, he's alive, but not the same. Recovery is slow, unpredictable. Some days are better, others not. There are no big speeches, no massive debates, just quiet. Time with his family, watching from the outside. The world he once led. And that might be the most unexpected part of this entire story. Because everything he taught is now being tested in real time. Jordan Peterson spent years telling people something simple. That suffering is part of life. That meaning comes from carrying your burden, even when it's heavy. But here's what this story really shows. Even the strongest mindset has limits. Even discipline can fail. And sometimes, there are moments where nothing works. No rules, no strategy, no control, just endurance. And maybe that's the real lesson. Not how to avoid suffering, but how to keep going when nothing you've learned is enough anymore. If this story changed how you see him, hit like, not for the video, but for the fight he's still in. Subscribe if you want more stories like this, the ones most people don't tell, and tell me in the comments. What's one moment in your life where everything stopped working and you had to keep going anyway? Because that's where the real story begins.